That's it. Almost there.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to DM Writer's Room, a stream where you get to hear Michael whisper about how he doesn't have his idea ready yet. I forgot to put on the
it's
music.
almost there.
Spencer, hop in, throw some music on really quick if you don't mind. Because I did forget to do that, which is fine.
I almost just turned on our Japanese city pop playlist.
If we could find one in the sort of commons, that would be fantastic. I just don't think there is one. We're just gonna pay exorbitant licensing fees to one of like the big.
Just one.
We're gonna
play all their music.
I know the exact ticket price of getting Seal's Kiss for a Rose, and it's $15,000. So I have to assume that if we could find some more sort of occipital things, it wouldn't be too much of a stress. Shout out to James in the chat. Hello and welcome. We are returning to Four.
Welcome back.
We are returning at long last to dungeon delving, deep into the dungeons of the world of our many fantastical realms in the hope that we can make an adventure that is fun to play, gives you a cool monster to fight, and at the end leaves you with something from the gift shop, a magic item that is sort of structurally relevant. We're going to go around the horn. We're each going to say our ideas. Michael's going to go last because he just whispered about how he wasn't ready yet.
It's there. It's
He's
almost.
This is the perfect equivalent of going to a restaurant and somebody saying, "Are you ready?" and you saying, "Grab mine last," and they start with the person next to you, and you suddenly watch 5 people order just simply so quickly as it whips back around to you. So my concept for this episode is demon-infested tree dungeon. I like the idea of like a kind of like a druid tree palace, like those big, like tree of Singorn, but it is infested with demons. I think that would be a very fun kind of reversal. So that's my pitch.
Here's mine. The swamp. Now, I know what you're thinking. That doesn't sound like there's a lot to it. There's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of meat on them bones.
So maybe it's the swamp.
The swamp.
Okay.
The swamp. So we got, the critters, crocodiles, other things that live in swamps. And beyond that, you got the dungeon baked in. It's all difficult terrain. It's gross, grimy. You're getting sucked in by murky creatures that you can't quite see. Magic item, I don't know, like a big palm frond that can blow big billows of air. I don't know. That's for us to find out.
We got a demon-infested tree, and we got the swamp. Michael,
the swamp.
What you got?
Mine. The latest. I wouldn't consider it a dungeon, but it's dungeon-esque event. We'll call it.
You sound so hesitant. You're making me nervous.
You're
Just
so
say
scared
it.
of this.
Well, I'm just trying to think of the right wordage for it. The espionage competition. It is the rogue tournament, and everyone is supposed to be a rogue. Your team, as long as you can pull off like looking like a rogue, you can be in it.
I gotcha. So this is a nightly joust, but for rogues. It's the rogue's tourney.
The tourney, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that, right? Somebody has made a series of like daring challenges beneath ground. That's a pretty easy dungeon, and it's just your mission. That's a good one shot. That's a good you don't need to be a rogue. You just need to be roguish.
Yeah. Sorcerers using like disguise self, rogue.
Sorcerers, bards, rogues. You got real solid options for roguish archetype characters.
All right, so we've
anybody that's got the urchin background, done.
Easy peasy. So we've got demon-infested tree dungeon, the swamp, and rogue's tourney. I can't believe I'm saying this. I guess we'll roll a die. I guess we'll roll a d6, and we'll see which of these 3 we are sort of sheltered with. I will, of course, grab my... I can't remember the original... The hunt set? I don't remember what it's called. It's the dice I roll all the time. It's the original colors. Let's see how this goes. Who wants what numbers? Who wants 1, 2? Who wants 3, 4? Who wants 5, 6?
I'll do 1, 6.
All right, Michael's got
1, 6. I'm gonna do 2 and 5.
2 and 5, so I'm 3 and 4. All right, everybody, remember your numbers.
Yes.
It's a 4. It's a
Damn.
4. Demon-infested tree dungeon it is. I gotta be honest.
We'll come back.
I want to come back just because I want to make our next stream is Spencer alone designing to swamp, and Michael and I just give color commentary. We don't help at any point while Spencer just
sounds so
pouring sweat.
What else lives in a swamp?
Spencer with like the Google, with like the Wikipedia for swamps open next to him. Like, I've got this. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be easy even. All right, cool. So we got a demon-infested tree dungeon. So we only have a couple of questions that we need to answer up front. Number one, what kind of tree is this? Whose tree is it? Where'd these demons come from? That's kind of our big 3 initial questions. Or we can start with our demon. So do we want to start with a particularly nasty and nefarious demon that is in charge? Or do we want to start with, what are they doing here? What's going on?
Let's start with the status quo. I think that's always easiest. So we're gonna go with what the tree was before the infestation, because that'll help give us a reason for why it's been infested. I feel like my initial reaction is to say the tree is like the primary temple of a nature deity, and their people live there. Typically.
Yeah.
And this is just a place of worship, a place of living, a community, whatever, to that god.
All right, so this is the temple of a powerful spirit or deity of the forest, and it is also a city, a settlement, right? It is where the people that worship this thing actually live and go about their daily lives. I think that makes a lot of sense. Some things that just should be true. I don't think this can just be kind of a neutral nature deity that is sort of impassive, right? They need to have been drawn into conflict or have some ability to help these demons. So my first thought is this is a spirit of, free travel, and it's basically the spirit of fairy circles and stepping stones that take you to the Feywild. It's like a god of portals and stepping between realms. And so a demon wants to infest it to open a big portal to the abyss. Option 2 is this is a spirit of nature's vengeance and justice, and this demon has personal beef. Like, this god slew this demon the last time it broke onto the mortal plane, and it wants revenge. So a tale of vengeance versus a tale of trying to carve a path to the abyss.
So I think the god of warpage could be cool, especially I don't know if it's still a spell, but back in like 4E, I want to say, there was it was like tree shift or tree portal.
Tree stride.
Tree stride.
A druid
yes.
touches a tree, it opens up, and for the next 6 seconds, as many people as you can get to sprint through the middle of it pop up, climbing out of any other tree in the world.
It's so crazy.
If we wanted to, we could make this the tree that links it all.
Oh, this is the heart tree that connects all others. That's pretty powerful.
There's a thing like that in old growth forests where it's like these 10,000 trees are actually just one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a famous
one being.
There's a famous forest that is just clones of the same tree. They are all one tree. It's just like countless perfect clones of it that kind of scatter across incredible distance.
Pando, the scientific name of the largest organism on Earth, the one tree aspen forest in Utah, made of 47,000 trunks. So we're making Pando into one huge tree.
And
that's
the thing
solid.
So this isn't the basis for that spell for everybody. This is one like interconnected hub of trees.
I could see it being, it is an interconnected hub of trees. It could just be one tree, but it is the heart of it.
Forest. So I assume that's the name of that attached sort of thing.
Yep, probably.
Yeah, it probably if we're really going into it too, it probably does link all trees, and then through that there's some symbolism with divinity where it links the extra planers, and that's why the demons want it and all that.
Yeah, I think the tree functions as the core for the freedom of mobility through trees. Like, this is the tree to rule all trees.
What kind of tree is it?
You know,
is it oak?
I have long had the complaint, and I've just put it in a script that I've been writing. I've long had the complaint that when you start not wanting to make big swings so that your game is more palatable, you have already lost. This is the tree that powers all tree strides that everybody casts. And the reason you're here is all tree strides in the world have stopped working. And so people know there is a problem with the ancestor tree. That means this is probably like a level 16 one-shot.
This is high stuff.
Yeah, this is like a really,
a
really
whole
high
spell
level.
doesn't work now.
Or we can counter and say, if it's a one-shot, it could be a low level. You guys are members of the community.
Oh, that's a good
and
one
it's
too.
being taken over, and you got to get out of there. So it's a reverse dungeon. Get out of it instead of deal with the problem.
That's pretty good. We could go either way. All right, I think that's solid. So this tree powers all tree strides, and this is a spirit of, travel, community, distance. This is like an aspect of the world tree, right? This is a facet of the world tree. James has said every 100 years a blood sacrifice must be made to feed the one tree that preserves the forest.
For sure.
I like a scary. I like elves to be a little alien and scary. I'm down with us having a blood sacrifice once a year.
What was the tree that you used in our Greek mythology?
Yes, Spencer and I both interacted with the blood tree in Theros in different ways. For me, it was a dungeon with a trapped titan at its heart, and so the tree was bleeding because it was basically like blood vessels spiraling up like the branches of a tree, and the people of Theros just didn't have a word for that, and so they called it a tree because that's what it looked like. I can't remember what it was. Spencer, I know we did something with it in your game, but I can't off the top of my head remember what it was.
I ended up moving it, and I had the tree become a person attempting to ascend to godhood via growth, and I put it in a different forest. So it was a blood tree because it was like a blood sacrifice to grow, to ascend to the realm of the gods. Yeah.
Cool stuff. For the record, if any of you ever managed somehow to track Spencer down on foot and play one of his campaigns, get ready for a big important tree to be in there somewhere. Spencer loves a big
tree,
important
guys.
And there's a shocking percentage of the time, it is also so high it touches the heavens. Those 2 points converge.
If you're gonna make a big tree,
what do we do?
It's gotta touch the heavens. What's the point?
Why not have it touch
Why
the
not?
heavens? So this is the core of all tree strides. A great spirit of travel, community, and distance rules over it. So what demon? So this is when we need to pick CR. Like, not super hard. I'm not saying we need to be like, this is exactly what it is. Did an archdemon break out of the abyss and is here? Is this the equivalent of Gibelex, the slimy doom? Is this the equivalent of, Demogorgon, the mad demon? Or is this a powerful lieutenant trying to make a name for themselves?
Is there a demon of the Nine Hells that is
Demons
like
are abyss,
barbarous?
devils are nine hells. 2 different places.
Sorry.
Demons are stupid.
Demons
So
want
the
to
devil.
Demons want to kill and eat everything in the world, not necessarily in that order. Devils want to rule the world, and so it's a pretty big difference. And the two groups actually are in a infinite war called the Blood War. They have been fighting since the beginning of time to determine who gets to take over the universe, and no one has ever won.
Nice. Is there a pretty well-known demon or devil that is arboresque?
Based on nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the biggest example close to what you're talking about would be Yanaug, the demon prince of gnolls, and like blood and hunts and beastland kind of things. I will say Yanaug is the intellectual property of the Forgotten Realms and by extension Wizards of the Coast, so we could do Shmishmaug. I tend to, in my campaigns, I tend to make demons manifestations of mortal fears. And so to me, it would be the ancient fear of being chased, of being hunted, something that we have kind of forgotten now, but that is ancestrally still so powerful that it would fuel this demon with great power. It'd be kind of what I would do the equivalent of.
I'm gonna make a double-headed pitch here before we get too deep into the CR question. What if we made a survivor one-shot? So you are not leveled. This isn't something you can plug into a campaign typically. This is you are getting out. You are a survivor class. So for those who don't know, survivors are non-leveled characters whose main goal is just get out of a place and survive. It was from Von Richten's guide. So that is my pitch, is survivors. One.
Okay.
Two, the sacrifice that James had pitched for the every 100 years you have to feed that thing, feed the tree. I think that there was a sacrifice done, but it had been meddled with by cultists of some sort, and they like replaced the ritual dagger or changed the holy water out with something not sanctified. And that gave the ability for the devil to appear and its minions to rip forth from the hells. And that's what's overrunning the community.
I have a pitch for that I think is really fun. I think that whatever... I'm imagining for some reason I'm going to kind of a midsummer place here. The thing that is summoned every 100 years is the Elder of the Tree. Is like the High Druid of the Grove is sacrificed every 100 years. And a demon replaced the Elder, and they were spilled their own blood, sacrificed themselves to carve a portal into the abyss.
Yeah.
So I like that. So I think then, if we want to go with it being survivors, I think, unfortunately, again we need to do a sort of survivor analog that is within the constraints of the SRD. A sidekick adventure or whatever. So then my question is, so are you surviving and also we come up with a party of 5 heroes that are fighting their way to the top of the tree? And so as you are going, because let's be honest, the instinct some people are going to have is they're going to be like, well, we're just going to stand next to the heroes. And I'm like, you mean the literal worst place to stand where you're definitely going to die? Yeah. So if it's a survivor adventure, I think we get to have the fun of being like, and there's also heroes in this adventure that are trying to make their way to the top of the tree, whereas otherwise you would just sort of play the heroes.
Yeah.
I just think it adds a little bit of fun impact. It lets the GM narrate more interesting things, because if not, I'm afraid it's going to be a little bit too... We make a stealth check, we make a stealth check, we make a stealth check, we make a stealth check. If you have something constantly disrupting the plan of the demon, then it gives you an opportunity to be like, okay, we make an athletics check, we're going to jump down to the next level of the tree.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to make... we see that there's like an herbalist's lab, the fighting is going on outside, we run in there and try to make like a smoke bomb that we can throw outside to disrupt what's going on. So for those of you missing, we're coming up with a dungeon, a monster, and a magic item. We're kind of, I don't know if we're still doing that if you want to stick with your survivor's idea. And we are started with the prompt of a demon-infested tree. And so now we know that this tree is a massive temple to a god of travel and open forest and community. It powers all castings of the spell Tree Stride in the world, and that a demon cleverly inserted themselves into a blood ritual to keep the tree alive and healthy and strong, and has taken control of the tree, which is now a portal to the abyss, or the sort of abyss, and the chaos analog of whatever your home campaign is.
I think I do still like survivors. I think I would like to add an additional mechanic if there are heroes in the tree, which is a Deus Ex Machina that each player can call in one time, and it's that a hero appears. If you've got a party of 3 people, 3 times you can be in a place where you're like, we are not getting out of this, and the door is kicked down, and Olgar the Brave lops the head off of a monster. It's like, get out of here! And they run off. You know, I think that would be so fun for me as a player, and I would like to add it in.
All right. We're in blue sky territory here. All right. So, it is survivors, and each survivor has one get out of jail free card. Get out of jail free. You have one pulp card, and you can exchange it for Conan the Barbarian to kick the door down and decapitate the monster. I think that's pretty great. So it's something kind of everybody gets one shot at. All right, then. So interesting. So it's just prepping for survivors is so different. I think that makes sense. We're going to be dealing with kind of like rank and file demons. So let's pick our head demon so that we know what to narrate and so that we can design some lesser demons that the party is going to be interacting with, right? Do we like the idea that this is a demon of the hunt or of like... For me, I'm always going to push for like the fear of being hunted just because I think that's fun. That's how I tend to design my demons. I'm also fine with it being the demon of bloodshed in the way that Yanaug is, right? Hunger and the sort of terrible predatory pangs of hunger that come with being loose in the wilderness.
If I could throw another one out, we're going demon or devil? I keep on forgetting. Sorry.
Demon. D-E-M-O-N. Demons. They are from the abyss, the plane of chaotic evil.
The demon of shackled or shackles, being like constrained and brought down and just like held in chained and all that. And they're trying to stop
like
all this
of imprisonment.
movement. Yeah.
James has hit us with fear. The demon of luposlipophobia is a must. Disadvantage on saving throws versus fear when the character sees a kitchen table, linoleum, wolves, slippery socks, or newly waxed floors. So I'm guessing that luposlipophobia is the fear of slipping and falling down.
Slipophobia is a crazy name. Yeah.
Too good. Oh, no, luposlipophobia. So is it the fear of dogs falling down? That's powerful, James. Right? Because wolves is in there. Deeply funny. Okay, Michael, so you're drifting in a little bit more of a, like, chain...
God, I need to say this out loud. I'm so sorry. Lupuslipophobia is a fictional phobia defined as the fear of being chased around a kitchen table by timber wolves while wearing socks on a newly waxed floor.
Hey, James, why do you know what this is?
What a crazy ball.
I hate to say it. No, I'm going to say something right now. Every logical, intelligent person has lupuslipophobia. That's terrifying. Oh my gosh.
So good. I like the hunt only because it ties in better with taking over the tree as a means of hunting further. They can walk through any tree and then be on the hunt again and walk through and reappear here and then back through again. Whereas like of bondage, I think doesn't necessarily tie into the tree as well, or imprisonment. So I think that I would go the hunt.
Okay, so let's just for now, because we know we're going to be kind of high fantasy. So Demon of the Hunt for the world of, let's just call it Fadia for now, and we can like slot it into something else like Prospect if we want to. I still think at some point we do need to look forward sometime in the next 2 years to us doing another full setting deep dive here. We do need to make a high fantasy setting at some point.
Fadia, yeah.
We have yet to sort of touch that. Fadia is, I don't know, man.
We haven't made it.
Yeah, Fadia is sort of our in the background live play world that changes every time we go there. So what is this demon of the hunt? Is it a giant wolf that can infect you with slippy socks? Like, what is this terrible beast? I think wolves ring lesser demon to me. I'm trying to think of a like.
Yeah, I see like a huntsman with his pack of wolves.
You know the creature we made for this. This is something nobody outside of this room has ever seen. There's a creature we made.
Those of you who tuned in for Falling Leaves may be familiar with the Tenebrak. The Tenebrak was was the monster in our Monster of the Week one-shot Falling Leaves. Check us out on YouTube. You can find an archive of all of our live videos over there. So this is like where those come from in this world?
Yeah, this is like the Tenebrak.
So for those of you who don't know, because none of you do because you can't, I will be a little scant. I guess this is a sneak preview of something we've been working on for 200 years that will come out someday. The Tenebrak is the result of a hunter, a trophy hunter, being killed by a spirit of the forest in, like, the heart of the forest. That hunter then rises as a undead that is tasked with protecting the forest at all costs. And so the result is this, like, bear trap, bow and arrow ridden corpse that has an army of the spectral animals it hunted in life that is at its back, that is defending a forest. And so what Spencer's just suggested is that curse has a base, it has a core, and it is this demon prince, this, like, very powerful archdemon, is where that curse comes from. So is this a mortal in a past life then? Did this mortal pull the equivalent of, like, I'm thinking Princess Mononoke, did it kill, like, the Great Wolf of the Woods and was cursed forever to be a demon of pain and hunting?
I think it could have been cursed by the deity that owns this, that controls this tree. Owns is a crazy term for a tree. That controls this tree, and that's why he's seeking this sort of revenge. Is as comeuppance for turning him into the Tenebrak.
Okay, so I think this is like an elven champion of ages long past who, let their protection turn into a desire for hunting and spilling blood, and then finally, killed a unicorn at a full moon in a holy glade, and was cursed with becoming a demon, with being cast into the abyss. It's fun. Kind of like it's some fun parallels with, like, Wolf in the Forgotten Realms in a way that I'm very into. I think that's really cool. Elven champion hunter fallen, sent down by this god. I like that. We'll figure out names later. We've got things to do.
Yeah.
So that gives me a good idea of what these creatures are going to look like. So the dagger plunges into the heart of the demon, of the person on the altar, and their form begins to bleed away, and we see this elven champion with, like, their armor has fused into their flesh and is now, like, half carapace, half metal. And as their blood spills over the tree, we just start to see, like, the leaves wilt and fall off. And then the bark starts to, like, unravel and open, and we begin to see demons just, like, pouring out. You're all there to witness the sacrifice, and you are suddenly surrounded by carnage. All of the people you have known are being torn apart all around you. What the fuck do you do? Like, what do you do? How do you respond? And you are survivors trying to make their way out of the tree. So we're going to need to keep the CR of our bad guys pretty low so that you have literally any chance of surviving at all. So odds are this dungeon, and this is definitely a dungeon, I'm onto my second sheet of paper here, starts with, to steal my favorite page out of the 4th edition book, we start with a good old-fashioned skill challenge, just to set how bad of a situation you start in, right? So your party of 4 to 6 players immediately says, okay, what do you do to help the party get out of the situation? The DC is only a 10 because you are so surrounded by chaos. Each of them goes around and describes what they do. If everybody fails, you start in the worst possible situation. If most but not all of them fail, it's kind of bad, and we can sort of come up with a little bit of a spectrum there, right? That skill challenge takes you down. You go up from the top of the tree down some degree, right? It's just maybe you fall down and everybody needs to roll dex saves, and maybe somebody dies right away in the first second of your survivor adventure. Which, the benefit of having it on the tree is, and then the door opens and another guy stumbles out, and that's your new survivor.
Hey guys! Yeah.
I would, given my luck, especially if you ran this, everybody else would survive the whole time, and I would play 23 survivors. That would just, each encounter, my survivor would die, and I would play a new survivor in the next encounter.
It's so funny.
It's really funny because we were just talking off Spencer was just pitching the next season of The Party Makes Things Worse after we finish up with Song of the Reliquary, which for the record I think has 3 episodes left, being optimistic. And he pitched something that you're so unlikely to die in, and I'm already thinking of like 3 characters.
It's gonna blow
already
up.
plotting some backups. Okay, so you get done with the skill challenge, you move down deeper into the tree. What comes next? Like, what are the kind of winding paths here that can lead you down farther as you start to encounter? And I think each one should bring you in conflict with like a different sect of the demons that serve under this fallen champion.
I'm gonna pitch that the sacrifice happens in the roots of the tree, and what your party is attempting to do is get to the top of the tree where a never-ending portal exists that can take you to safety.
That's fun. That's fun.
Like that core. Yeah,
Okay,
because
so
you always want to climb up a tree.
The person is sacrificed over the roots, and you see the demons like pouring out into the forest. And so you know, ironically, the only safe place to go is up, is to climb the mast of the ship in the hopes that you don't drown. Okay, so the skill challenge leads you out of there, and from there you are trying to kind of ascend up the tree. So, do we want this to be a one-shot or a module? Like, are we here for 3 sessions, or are we here for 1?
I think a one-shot.
Okay, in that case, we all know 4 to 6 encounters is about all we can really handle. Much more than that, and we're kind of already in the weeds. So, a very long narration followed by a skill challenge. First encounter, right? You're going to spend a little time talking, getting to know the characters. They're going to do their skill challenges. They're going to make their way up top. We need to come up with at least 4 more obstacles, 3 or 4 more obstacles that stand in their way. So you get done with the skill challenge, you begin to climb the tree. What's the next thing that you encounter?
I think the next
It can just be ideas.
Encounter.
Yeah. If you don't have like a solid one, throw some spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks.
We've got the initial trample stampede of everybody taking off. So you start the ascent after like essentially getting run over by everybody else. Skill challenge 1. Number 2 is encountering the demons as you're trying to ascend. They flew up into higher levels or like through a chain and climbed up besides you. So you're dealing with that threat for number 2.
Okay, so our second one then is as you flee and make your way upwards, the demons that are winged, the demons that are on wings, begin to ascend extremely quickly. You are brought into conflict with a group of them. Any survivor encounter does not end when the creatures are dead. It ends when you get away or do whatever clever thing it is that you need to do. Maybe it's just get to safety. So these flying demons, I'm thinking of animals that I associate with being sort of perfect apex predators, like incredible hunters of the world, and 2 come to mind. Number 1 are hawks. Hawks can dive bomb from basically low orbit and decapitate mice at like Mach 2. And my other one is nature's deadliest predator, the dragonfly. Dragonflies' hunger is tied so closely to their vision that there's actually no difference between seeing another insect and eating it for a dragonfly. It's the same signal in their brain. That is how hardwired to kill they are. They can like hyper adjust based on, they can like shoot something out of their tail to make like pitch turns to catch stuff. It's insane. So those are the 2. Do we have a direction there that we want to go in? Michael, what's your thought?
I love both of those. One other one that I'd like to add, because it can be cool as a demon, owls.
Ooh, owls could be cool. We could do that too. They're sort of they're very, very silent. Let's put that as like encounter 4. Because owls,
a little bit more roguish.
Yeah, owls are scary in like a Dead Space kind of way, where all of a sudden they just emerge silently out of the darkness. If we're gonna go birds for that, let's go dragonflies for this.
I was gonna keep the bird motif going.
Oh, it's just oops all birds.
And I'll save the dragonflies for the swamp.
For the swamp.
That'll be for later. Yeah, later on.
Okay, good. So our flying demons are kind of these like hawk. Now the problem is my brain. I think James will have me on this. Is the Hawkman from Flash Gordon, which is just Brian Blessed with hawk wings and like a leather crop top on, being like, "Come, Hawkman." Obviously not what we're going to be encountering, but it was the first thing that popped into my head. So we have these like horrible hawk demons that have like, I assume, spears or something and are like grim and grotesque. They fly up and quickly start to pick people off. And we narrate the party like halfway up a spiraling, beautiful starlight staircase. And all of a sudden, these creatures like fill the space, and you need to pick what it is. I knew James would have it. All of a sudden, you're going to be like, and need to run or fight or do something. For the sake of timeliness, Artie, we're going steady here. Start at 7:30, headed to 8:11, so we've got some time here. We got like 49 minutes, but we still got a little bit of loose work here. So we have combat encounter, and then we know we want the fourth encounter to be combat. So let's have number 3 not be explicitly combat. So we have skill challenge. You escape these flying hawk demons, or maybe kill them, or maybe, do something clever. What happens next? I'm imagining, for some reason, the party like managing to make it inside the tree and catch their breath for a minute, only to be faced with something new and horrible. Michael, what were you thinking?
Two things. Next encounter, it could be that the trees is already starting to blight and stuff. So you have some spots, unsafe foot placements, stuff like that.
It could be doing necrotic damage. Like if you touch it, it burns you or does necrotic damage or something like that. So you have to navigate around those spots. That's cool.
So as the blight is starting to climb up the tree, you are starting to watch branches try to grab people and like rip them down towards the demons as the tree is infected. And so you are kind of having to navigate something between a puzzle and like a Call of Cthulhu chase almost, trying to sort of thread that needle, because now it's not just that you have to escape these demons, you're racing against the blight. You need to beat it to the top, otherwise that portal guaranteed is a one-way ticket to the abyss.
Yeah, exactly. Mike, what was the second thing?
Second thing, I have an idea for the name for our demon. Wara, and it's arrow spelled backwards.
Ooh, Wara is fun. Wara.
You know what I like about that is I love the Demon Prince Wara. Sounds correct. And what I can't wait for is for us to publish this next year, and for the comments after about 2 months to be, is the evil elf's fucking name Arrow backwards?
Arrow.
I can't wait.
His name in life, Arrow.
Are you shitting me? Like, this is what we're doing? That is so like 1980 Dying Earth classic fantasy. To be like, and so they inverted his name to label him a heretic, and it's just Arrow backwards, and you're like, dude. This is also where it's like, oh, 'tis the Dark Tower is his palace. And it's like, wow, we are on the nose today. Like,
that's Fadia.
You ever read, last summer, when I hike, I listen to audiobooks relentlessly. Last summer, I was listening to the Elric of Melniboné books while I was going on hikes. You listen to those, and everyone's an evil sorcerer or like a vicious mercenary. There's not a normal man in Elric of Melniboné. There's not one out anywhere. Okay, so we go through the skill challenge. Flying demons attack. You escape them. Oh yeah, James. The blight infects community members. They're not hard to kill at all. But they get in your way and try to like drag you down. I think that's a great addition.
That could be the beginning of showing the blight. When they first appear, the demons, a bunch of the people become infected, and they start reaching out at you, and that's encounter 1 when you're escaping. It's not just a typical stampede. There are zombies getting your ass. That works great.
And they're like still intelligent. They just are totally possessed by the need to hunt. They're like, World War Z, or I'm thinking of, it was a weird web comic.
28 Days Later.
Yeah, there was a comic too that kind of did the same thing. It was called, I don't remember the name of it, where they were like intelligent, and so like the ones infected with it that were still working in nuclear silos started to launch nukes. And it's like, all right. So you get through the tree tendrils, you outrace the blight enough to get high, you catch your breath for just a moment, and these horrifying rogue owls start to stalk and attack the party. So I'm thinking this is full-blown, like, they're making stealth checks and you're just trying to live. You're just trying to, like, make your way in and out. You're kind of having to stealth around each other. Like a longer, kind of tense style of encounter, I think would work.
Listening at each door to see if there's, like, any hoot behind it before continuing on is fun.
So I do want to say,
wings.
if this is a perception and stealth versus your perception versus their stealth and their perception versus your stealth, I don't think you are being attacked by demonic owls. I think you are being attacked by one demonic owl. That way, if it kills somebody, it will be distracted, killing them.
So
and you can be like, this is your chance to run. Like, it is too late for this person. Thankfully, for you, owls don't kill things super fast, and so you have time to run. And we can even give the demon, like, a cool name. Like, we can even make this, like, a special owl demon.
Talon backwards.
Talon backwards. What is that?
Nolat.
Nolat.
It's Lowell Owl backwards.
Get out of here.
And that's the primo naming experience you can expect at Foolhardy Press.
See, the problem is, if you leave it to me, I actually had already thought, I was like, Elven Champion, like, Thorendil? And it's like, yeah, for sure, but like, yeah, awesome.
It's just it's the same, you know, it works the same
No
way.
joke, the owl one that was rattling around in my head was Hezukai. It's just, if you read enough fantasy and write enough fantasy, the machine...
You're just saying fantasy names.
It goes up here. I am gonna write. I don't want to forget Hezukai, and I think Nolat is too silly. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to look that up. The problem is sometimes you do that free word association, and then you Google it, and it turns out to be like the name of a prayer, and you're like, gotta change that. All right, so you get away from this giant, terrifying owl demon that is stalking the party. You make your way to the top. It's the last encounter. What is it? Now, if we wanted to be real jerks, it would be spoilers for a video game that came out 100 years ago. Not PT. There is a game where you were in like an insane asylum and trying to escape, being chased by like horror monsters, including this like weird doctor with like big scissor hands. And at the end, you get killed by like the police because you look like one of the monsters at that point. You've lost fingers, you're dirty, and so they shoot you, and that's the end of that game. It would be kind of fun for the final challenges. The heroes emerge out of the portal, and at this point you are all covered in blight ichor and are like all messed up. But I think that might be a little too mean.
I would counter with the last encounter could be one of two things. Option one is you aid the heroes as they attempt to stop the Demon Prince Wara, from blighting the portal. So you can assist them, or you can make a break for the exit and try not to get cut down by the heroes and the Demon Prince as you make that egress. So you got sort of a spread of options.
I like
there.
that. I think you just narrate the Demon Prince Wara starts fighting these heroes that step through the portal having been summoned, and the choice is just up to you. Do you all feel inspired by your journey here and want to offer some small aid? In which case, I think it's giving the help action. I think it's, doing we would give versions of like the trip attack, because we're gonna have to put our own survival rules at the beginning anyways, right? I think it'd be very fun to be like, one of the abilities you can level up and unlock is the ability to trip a bad guy. Like, roll to hit, you do 0 damage, but you do trip them, and now they're prone. Yeah. And like, that's the best you can do.
There's like, drop a chandelier on them. You mess with something in the environment that affects the bad guy negatively or aids a hero. Like, there's junk like that.
Now, we do need to make some kind of fight mechanic to make sure that we feel heroic in that scene, right? I don't want it to just be that you are playing second fiddle to these heroes. If I wanted to get really like heady about it, I would say my stretch goal Shark Tank version of this would be you play the survivors until you get to the top, and then you play the heroes, but you get your familiar is your survivor
Sidekick.
if they are still alive. And so you
So
are encouraged
funny.
to keep them alive, because if they can make it all the way to the top, then they'll help you in the
Yeah,
final
boom.
fight. If they die, you don't have an ally there. So basically,
That's
everybody
funny.
roll up a level 12 character and a level 0 survivor, and let's just see how it pans out.
That's really fun.
That
And
would be fun.
it works if it's like, if your survivor dies and you have to go onto a secondary survivor, when they get to the top, the survivor just leaves. Like, they say, I'm not sticking around, and they leave. But if the original one makes it through, they can help out in the fight as a sidekick. That's great. And that's sort of fight solved. Like, final encounter fixed. That's it.
Yeah, it's just a different, and you can even, and what I like about this is it's also an opportunity for you to play in a long-term campaign and be like, hey, we can take
You
a
show
break
up.
for a session and do this. You get to play survivors for a little while, and then you get to play your characters again, and you get to narrate.
You don't tell them, you say, surprise.
Yeah. And
Everybody walks in.
You get to sort of narrate like what has happened in the background as you try to kill the archdemon Wara. All right, cool. So we've got 39 minutes still. So we really cooked through the basics, and I think we do have sort of an outline. So now we get to pick where we want to drill in a little deeper and do a little bit more kind of focus work here, right? So to recap this wild ride, our dungeon concept was a demon-infested tree dungeon. If you wanted us to do the swamp or a rogue's tourney, just wait, we'll get around to it. There is this massive tree that a powerful elven or nature deity is in charge of, and it is what basically powers the spell Tree Stride in the world. Every 100 years, someone is sacrificed at its roots to honor the god and keep the tree healthy and hardy for another 100 years, but that has been supplanted by the demon prince Wara, an elven champion who was cast down by the god of this tree in ages long past, who has returned for vengeance. You all begin at the base of the tree, you watch this terrible thing happen, you complete a skill challenge to begin to ascend the tree. You are then assaulted by flying hawk demons. You fight them off or escape, making your way to the interior of the tree, where you are now racing against the blight that is trying to infect the core of this divine holy tree. As you make your way into the higher boughs and branches, however, a terrifying owl demon, like a massive, I'm thinking almost the what's the creature from BioShock Infinite, the like giant bird, songbird is the name of that. If you look that thing up, it's terrifying, chasing you. It might kill a couple of you as you make your way higher. I have that down as the demon owl Hezukai. I will make sure that that is not some loaded term that I have memorized for some reason. You make your way to the top, and as you arrive at the top, the demon prince Wara appears to fight your heroes, assumably from your broader campaign, who are stepping through the portal on the other side. If you are playing your original hero, congratulations! You're going to have help for the final fight. If you aren't, well, their character is going to flee through the portal to safety, and you will not have their aid and assistance. So what's our open stuff here? I don't know what Wara does in combat, I don't know what Hezukai does in combat, and I don't know what the Flying Hawks do in combat.
Also, what's open is magic item.
Oh, and
Here
of
we
course,
go for a magic item.
I think, because we're pie in the skying this one, we would make 3 different stat block for Hezukai and Wara, where it's like level 6, level 10, and level 14.
I'm going to say, mail it to
Yes.
yourself. I just searched it. Hezukai, the way I was imagining it, which is Hezoukai, has 0 Google responses.
Not anymore, throw it in the
First.
description.
So there you go. All right. So you want to make a couple of different versions of which? I got
So,
distracted.
of all of them.
Okay.
Well, not the one that your party's going to be fighting. So that way a level 6 party can do it, and a level 10 party can do it, and a level 14 party can do it. or anywhere in that range. You just
Okay.
go up or down a little bit.
So a couple of different versions of Wara. Set a time limit to reach the top.
Yeah.
If you don't succeed, the Demon Lord claims the top of the tree as its lair, and it gets a lair action. If you reach the top before time, the top is holy ground, and you all would get like some version of a lair action. Very good. I like that.
that's
Set
for
like a
sure.
2-hour timer to make sure the survivors haul ass up there. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is pretty. So I think this is actually pretty easy then. So let's assume the party is what's like a good level near the top of each of the tiers of play. I know that the first one would probably be like level 3. Could somebody? I have my tablet here, but I might take.
I'll pull
the
up tiers
apps.
of play.
This is like
1
unrelated.
through 4.
My life has just gotten much easier. I finally found the charger for my tablet, so it no longer takes 9 days for my, not actually, but
Nice.
it used to take a full day to charge. So level 1 to 4. So I would say let's call it level 3, so that you get to that top level.
Levels 5 to 10. I would hit that with like a level 8 group
Level 8.
if we did level 3.
Okay.
And then tier 3 is 11 to 16.
So-
and I might put that at 16
Yeah.
as like top end of it.
And is there a level 20 version of this encounter? Probably not.
No.
You're not messing with Wara if you're level 20.
If you're a level 20 adventurer and your DM is like, I'm going to throw this random one shot at him, I don't envy your campaign. You might need to let that one go to rest, guys.
Also, if your campaign goes to level 20, what are you doing? I can't imagine. It is truly busted. Okay, so 3 versions, a level 3, level 8, and level 16 adventure. I think at level 3, Wara is not a demon. Wara is just a disgraced hero. Wara is an Oathbreaker paladin of the ancients, right? At level 3, Wara is not a demon yet. Wara is just fallen, was just stripped of title and rank, and is now serving the demons to like get vengeance.
And did like the ritual dagger replacement thing. That's easy.
Yeah, and like the dagger was replaced with some fell artifact or something. All right, at level 8, I think Wara is a demon, but is like a demon lieutenant, like a powerful demon, but not a demon prince or anything. It's like a pretty major beefy demon. We'll call, what do we call that? So we'll say, I don't think they could be Demon of the Hunt. I think we need something a little bit more specific, so that it is like a more narrow field to be in charge of. We've got all these birds.
Yeah. What are there?
Chase, we could do.
I was thinking, like, is there? It's kind of funny to be the demon of, like, open skies, of the fear animals feel when there is an open sky above their head. Like, if you've ever let your cat out in like a completely open area, they're immediately like, this blows. Like, I can see everything up there. This sucks.
Yeah, it's the fear of being seen, visibility, like something like that.
Yeah, for sure. So like Demon of the Sky is just too cool.
Yeah,
Demon of
that
the
goes
Wing.
Crazy.
I'll do Demon of the Wing / Talon. Demon of the Talon's better, right?
Yeah.
So Wara, Demon of the Talon, is the demon of these, all of the worst and most nefarious things about birds, like vicious talons, terrible killing. Birds do all kinds of terrible stuff. If you look into like how they hunt, it's pretty grim. And then level 16, this is Wara, Archdemon of the Hunt.
Yeah.
Can I say something? I think it is the ultimate power move to have your party go on a whole adventure without the players there. To just be like, you show up at the end,
And you're here.
You get to watch only the end of your hero's adventure.
If I was DMing this, it would be I would be like, yeah, and next session we're gonna do like a few week time skip, so think about a little bit of downtime activity, what you guys get up to, and then I would jump into the session with that being like, yeah, none of that happened. You guys got interrupted and all these things happened. I think it's very funny.
So, we have these kind of like 3 different tiers. We got 30 minutes left. Let's spend a couple of minutes on each, and we'll probably have time for a bit at the end, right? So, I immediately see a pretty big difference here. We've got normal person that should have sort of hunter stats. We have a bad guy that can absolutely fly with the Demon of the Talon. And then we have Archdemon of the Hunt, which kind of feels like summons to me.
Yeah.
Like kind of a summoner. Somebody's going to be like calling like wolf and hound demons out to like flank the party and cause problems. Mm-hmm. What are some ideas for any of the 3 of them that you have kind of rattling around? I dished out mine for each. Evil Paladin, hypermobile fighter for the second one, and summons for the third. I think because when I think of the fear of being hunted, it's not the T-Rex chasing you, it's the Velociraptor chases you, you think you got away, you look to your right, and one of them comes out of the bushes. You've already been surrounded, right?
So for the first one, it's really pretty cut and dry. A level 3 BBEG is like, he stabs and hits hard. If he's a paladin, he just has smite. He just can kick the shit out of you, kinda. It's really rough.
I think I don't think that I think that is like a pretty specific choice though. So this for you is not like a controller who's locking people down with vines and things. This is, I've got a big sword, I've got an evil looking bow, and I'm here to fuck shit up. Like that's what I'm here to do. And they're just like,
original vengeance,
firing these like slaying arrows that like they can smite with their arrows, not just with their melee attacks. It strikes into people and like blows up into this blight that hurts them. I think that makes a lot of sense. So your addition there is heavy hitter.
There's a spell that I'm pretty sure sorcerers get. I don't know who else might get, but Alter Self. And there's one that you can choose like altering parts of your body, like give yourself talons, give yourself eagle eyes, stuff like that.
Yeah, so there's Alter
I think
Self.
that could be kind of cool for the Demon of the Talon to actually giving him
so sort of
features.
Sort of a like Alter Self or Primal Savagery is the other one.
Yep.
Who is that? It's Sun Eater in My Hero Academia. If he eats a certain animal, he can develop some of their attributes for a short time until he digests it. That's what he can do, essentially. Like, I have the wings of an eagle now. I use a bonus action, now I have the fangs of a wolf.
Yeah.
I use a bonus action, and
this is actually very funny. For our home game of Icewind Dale, I did this to Oriel. Oriel. They changed it after the fact. Oriel, I gave her, like, she could, as a bonus action, shift between... She's like a ram, owl, bear. And so as a bonus action, she could shift to like focusing on those so the owl could fly and like dive bomb, the ram could knock people prone. We did something like that. I like that, like the owl form, you can probably just turn straight up invisible, because the thing that makes owls dangerous is that they are silent. There's a really cool video if you watch of how quiet an owl is compared to other birds, and it is honestly pretty creepy.
with the microphone set up, like cranked up. Yeah, I've seen that.
And you truly couldn't hear anything when the owl went by. It was just like wind coming by. All right, so we've got an additional detail for Wara the Fallen Hero, and we have an additional detail for Wara the Demon of Talons. What's one more for Wara the Archdemon of the Hunt? So they summon these allies. What is another like big defining characteristic? I have one rattling around, but I was curious if you guys had one before I piped.
Mine is this would be AoE lockdown effects. The Blight is fully under Wara's control. The vines whip out and grab. It's difficult terrain, all that junk. So that way the summons can wallop on people.
That works really well. I have something connected that I'm going to attach to that, which is, I think, ironically, the Archdemon of the Hunt is the only one of the 3 of these that I'm really attached to using a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Especially with summons and control. Like this thing having like a leader stat block and then just pelting people with arrows as they try to approach, I think is real nasty.
Yeah.
Ranged arrows.
And then
Okay.
we've got the layer action thing from James set up for upper level play where he gets layer action.
So I want to make sure I don't miss some of the other ones that we said. So Spencer, I have the Fallen Hero Wara as like evil paladin, heavy hitter. How do you see that? Like, how do you feel? What do you think combat should feel like? Is Wara like heavily armored, like Barkskin style? Are they blighted?
I think it's like fighting an Oath of the Ancient Paladin, which is they'll smite you, they'll lock you down with 1v1 abilities, and can tank a bunch of damage, and you'll miss a bunch. It's not cool.
Okay. All right, cool. And then so for the Demon of the Talon, if it can like turn invisible with a bonus action, and then on the next turn bonus action do more damage and like dive bomb people, then it's pretty hard mobility. Your players are going to be doing a lot of like, I hold my actions to attack if it comes within melee range.
Yep.
Hypermobile. His shoulder joints are weak. Get him, man. Get him. But dislocate his shoulder. It'll never be the same.
It'll be quick.
All right. So I thought that would take us like 20 minutes. Took us 6.
Yeah, we're straight through.
All right. Cool.
Now magic item. Magic item is the last
now
thing
we're
that I
on
wanted
to
to
our
cover,
onto
for
our
sure.
big old magic item.
I do have an idea, and I think this would be a cool item at all levels of play.
Okay.
We've based this around the spell of Tree Stride. Make an item that is tree whisper, tree speak. You get to send messages through any tree.
Ooh. Oh, we're like word of the wind.
Word of the
something
bark.
like that. Yeah. Whispering leaves.
Mm-hmm.
I think is pretty sick.
Whispering leaves. I was gonna, if we make the tree a giant willow tree, word of the willows.
Or
Yeah. And people here, you can say something if they're on the same plane of existence as you, and they're nearby a tree. You can send a message to them. That's pretty wild.
Kind of so like sending. That's interesting. Sending, but they need to be near. I don't want to make it too restrictive. Is the only.
I think that this doesn't have any limit on usage or word
So
count.
it's sending. But you need to be. So it's sending, but you need to go stand next to a tree, and the word count is infinite.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you have it on good authority that there's somebody near a tree you need to talk to, like, guys, stay here next to this tree. I'm gonna feed back recon info. It's gonna work. Hey.
And here's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to do a little. I'm going to say you have infinite word count and an unlimited number of castings if the target is standing next to a tree. If they aren't, you can cast the spell sending a number of times equal to your proficiency modifier, so probably 3, 4, or 5 times a day. And you do have that 25 word limit. And when it's done until the next dawn. So you need to have like some pretty economical conversations.
Sure.
But thankfully, what I love about that is your first sending is go stand next to a fucking tree.
And what's fun about this magic item is it is a blessing from the deity who controls the tree that you save. The deity can give it as a full blessing to the party or as an item that is dropped down from the heavens because the tree is so big it touches heaven or whatever. Who's to say?
Spencer's like, just a thought. I'm just spitballing.
You could.
They say no mortal can climb into its boughs because that would be to touch the heavens and you would be cast down for it. Maybe that's what happened to Wara. Maybe Wara tried to climb the tree to its top.
Exactly. Just one step too high. So I think that's our thing solved. I've got a pop culture character creator pulled up here.
This song has a different refrain at the end?
Uh-huh.
We've never played this song long enough to get the violin part.
It's to key into my
As we
my
finish?
bid.
Yeah, all right, so welcome
perfect.
to the end of our dungeon delving. We have made a whimsical adventure to a demon-infested tree as you race your way to the top, trying desperately to survive, and now it's time for us to do a couple of bits and wrap up our show. So it sounds like bit number 1 is pop culture character creator, am I right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, pop culture character creator is a bit where Spencer rolls, I think, a D100?
D100. Yes.
Rolls a D100 and we see what pop culture character we need to sort of cast using D&D classes. What are you about to say?
Ethan, roll me the 10s, and Michael, roll me the others.
The ones.
Okay.
So I'll roll the 10s.
Ones.
Michael rolls the ones. 80.
I'm trying to get it out. There we go. 9.
89. Okay. Now here's the thing.
Oh no.
I always do a plus or minus 1 on the pop culture character creator because some of them are simply unusable.
Yeah.
This one, we've got enough time here that I think it would be funnier to do all 3 on my plus or minus 1, and that's what we're going to go with.
Yeah, we got the time.
I'm going to go in order. Number 1 is Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
So
Jason
Friday the
Voorhees.
13th, Jason.
All right. Everybody take a moment, look at your list.
Yeah.
So Jason Voorhees is at camp. He is stalking teens. He is slaying them. He gets killed 55 times and comes back to life. Eventually, he is actually back to life in space. There is, in fact, I think Friday the 13th, 2000 or something, where they are on a space station.
Yeah. So I've got my initial pitch. I don't have a subclass selected because I have to pull that up, so I'm going to do that right now. But he's clearly a high-level barbarian.
Okay, so you're going high-level barb.
He's got persistent rage, where when he falls unconscious or gets knocked out, it doesn't matter. He gets back up and he's still swinging. And beyond that, when he's knocked unconscious, they think they've killed him. He can stand back up at 1 HP. Easy money. That's a whole barbarian thing.
Okay.
Now, I've got the barbarian subclasses pulled up. We got Ancestral Guardian, Battle Rager, Berserker.
Ancestral Guardian, he has a whole thing with his mom.
With his mom. Yeah, I think Ancestral Guardian is a solid option.
Or Berserker.
So I think like a level 16 Ancestral Guardian and or Berserker Barbarian is Jason Voorhees. What do you guys got?
I have Jason Voorhees is a Way of the Kensai monk. And his Kensai weapon is his machete.
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees is an incredibly powerful... That's why, even though it looks like he's walking slow, he catches up to teens running full speed to a car and then driving. Is because he is secretly a monk.
Good.
The minute you look away, he sprints as fast as he can, which is 90 feet around. And
Dang, he's there.
the reason he can seemingly do anything with a machete is it's his Kensai weapon. And so he's doing like 1d10 with that thing. That is a fully souped up, kitted out... Oh! That's poison. I muted you. Spencer's in a house with 9 dogs.
Somebody definitely entered.
I apologize to our audience. That was so jarring. That was insane. All right, Michael. We've got a Way of the Kensai monk. We've got a barbarian, either ancestor or headed some other direction. What's your pick?
Mine is an Eldritch Knight fighter.
Ooh.
His bonded weapon is his machete. And with all the new stuff that you get with, I can't remember. I don't know what machete would be considered in D&D.
Short sword?
Probably.
Short sword?
Yeah, I think short swords. What?
Short sword is 1d6, 1d6, still 5-foot range. It's a simple weapon, not a martial weapon, and it has the Vex property now in 2025.
If it has Vex, it's perfect because that allows for crits or for advantage later. That man gets advantage all the time while he's swinging.
Inexplicable advantage, I would say. Sort of logicless.
And also to go with Eldritch Knight, Eldritch Knights get spell usage. All the times he gets hit, he 100% uses like the spell shield.
Oh, there you go. I like that.
Yeah.
A little bit of elemental absorption, right? He gets electrocuted in one of them. He can absorb a half of the damage, reflect it back out. I like it. All right, Spencer, what's our next? Do we decide a winner, or do we just move on to the next one?
I think we just move on.
All right.
I think that, in this game, we're all pretty accurate.
I
so
think
really
this
speak a
game
winner.
inevitably is whoever goes first picks the obvious thing, and then the other two
Yes.
people get to really be like, yeah, and
Really
I have a
big
good
deal.
idea too.
Yeah.
How do I spin this?
The next one is, and this is the one that we landed on, Betty Boop.
Betty Boop?
Betty Boop.
Popeye's girlfriend, yeah?
No.
No, that's
olive oil.
the olive oil.
No, Betty Boop is like
Betty
a
Boop.
1920s dancer with curly black hair who
Yeah.
sings and goes
Yeah.
boop boop be doop. She
Yeah.
had like a whole thing going on. My great grandmother had a bunch of Betty Boop fridge magnets, which
It's
is
a
how
big-
I
big-
wish I knew more about that character because I don't. I know as much as Ethan just said.
Do a quick Google.
Yeah.
See
I'm
what
looking
you
up
can
Betty
find.
Boop skill scaling, and we're gonna see. Okay, I got the Heroes Wiki pulled up for Betty Boop,
Oh, of course.
and I'll read off some quick.
Yeah, give me
some
some
quick
give me
stats for
some
you
Betty Boop
guys.
feats.
Yeah, that's really what I'm looking for here. There's about 8,000 fun facts.
Hey guys, welcome to our podcast within a podcast here. This is where we research the creatures that the people, the pop culture icons that we want to do for Pop Culture Character Creator, because sometimes we
Okay,
roll
I
things
got
and we
it.
don't know anything about them.
I've got it. So full name, Betty Boop. Aliases, Betty. Not an
Great.
alias. She's a singer, dancer, actress.
Fantastic.
Her powers and skills include hypnotizing singing, excellent dancing skills, and acting expertise. And my
Okay.
dogs continue to bark for no reason, so please ignore that.
I'll do my best.
And her enemies are numerous one-off antagonists, and her friends are Bimbo and Coco.
Naturally.
My bimbo.
Okay, I've got my pitch.
All right, take it away.
Betty Boop is a mastermind rogue. Betty Boop's whole singer, it's all a facade. Betty Boop's pulling the
Yeah.
strings from behind. She's a master of intrigue, which is she can use she can unerringly mimic the speech pattern and accent of another creature using her incredible acting talent. She is a master of tactics. She can give the help as a bonus action by using dance to sort of confuse and jar her enemies. Also, insightful manipulator. She can extract information from people using those same skills. Betty Boop is a mastermind
solid.
rogue.
Michael, you want to take the next one?
Sure, this is probably the obvious one, I'd say. Bard, College of Glamour.
There you go.
Yeah.
Glamour
She
Bard.
is.
Go ahead and tell me why.
I don't know, maybe that hypnotizing, that little charm of hers.
Maybe it's hypnotizing and charging and dancing and being able to help allies. So sort of the whole thing all in a row.
Yeah. I feel like she's probably mid-level. I give her level 10.
Now, I'm going to give you my offer. I think Betty Boop is a wizard who specializes in enchantment magic. Betty Boop is a kind, sweet, and happy-go-lucky personality, etc., but she is very clumsy in almost all of her appearances. Bards have high dex. Almost across the board, they got pretty good dex. Wizards, you don't need high dex necessarily. You don't need to run that. So I think Betty Boop is an enchantment wizard.
I like that all three of us took a real stab at that. I think that's really fun.
Yeah, we
All
did
three of us
do
took
our
a
best.
real stab at Betty Boop. I think that was pretty fun. All right, last one, and then we're gonna sign off there.
Now, last one. This is another real banger here.
The last one was
This
so
is a-
straightforward. I don't know how it could be.
I think this is going to be a hard one. Bilbo Baggins. So go ahead and take your best shot at that one, boys. What class is Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit?
Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit. Okay.
Bilbo Hobbit Baggins of Bag End.
I'm ready when you guys are.
Michael, you're the only one who hasn't gone first so far. So I see you looking up Bilbo Baggins real quick.
Oh yeah. I
Is this how I learned that Michael's never seen Lord of the Rings?
have. I'm just trying to figure out what would be a good
not-
class for him.
He's not a Bilbo head. You know?
I'm not a Bilbo.
I know.
He's not Baggins Maxing.
I immediately thought of like 5 off the dome, and I picked my favorite, not the one that's the best fit.
That's fair. I'm just looking up subclass really quick.
Okay, in that case, I'll do mine.
Okay, and I'll go second, and then that gives Michael a bit of time.
I'm flipping Betty Boop, and I'm saying that I think that Bilbo is a lore bard.
Is a lore bard.
Yeah, he writes there and back again. He outwits opponents more than anything.
Oh yeah.
He like speaks in riddles, fucks with the trolls, I believe. Like that's his thing. He solves puzzles. Like this dude is all knowledge based. Kicks back, chills. He's pretty persuasive when he needs to be, and he's funny as shit when he's an old man. And I think that falls in well with bards.
On my end, also leaning into the charisma, he is a Pact of the Undying Warlock. He is sworn to an undead master. He is sworn to Sauron. He can, and his spell slots. Sorry, do you mean his invisibility slots? He doesn't use them for anything else.
It's like Smite.
Yeah, and some of the other stuff on here I think really works. You know, you get silence, you get feigned death, you get a couple of other things at the early levels. I think definitely we have some moments where Bilbo's just like laying still with the spiders to try to look dead.
Yeah.
He can go invisible. He has high charisma, so he can tell great stories later on. And eventually, he breaks his pact. He gives away the ring, and he gets old. Like, he loses the benefits of being a Warlock of the Undying, and he starts to age very rapidly. So that's my pitch.
And then he takes the trip to the Elven lands, and he has a new Undying Master. He basically gets the benefits again, but it's not super fucked up.
I mean, there you go.
Michael?
We bought you so much time.
No, I appreciate it. I say he's a monk waved long death.
Yeah.
He is. I think it's described that all hobbits are pretty hardy people.
Very true.
Hobbit and Bilbo, amongst all of them, he is hard to kill.
Yeah.
There, the still many times he should have died. Way the long death is really similar. They are the tankiest monks. And I'm going, he feels monkish. He's light on his feet, all that.
Specifically, the level 11 ability Mastery of Death, anytime you would be reduced to 0, expend a focus point to have 1 hit point, is absolutely something Bilbo does to survive all of his stupid shit.
I think what we can all agree on for Bilbo is that he definitely took the lucky feat.
Oh, yeah.
And that's gotten him out of quite a few bad situations.
I love the idea that Bilbo, at some point in his youth, swore an oath of non-violence, and that's the only thing keeping him from doing a jumping crane kick and killing Herzog the Destroyer with a single powerful kick of his leg. All of those elves don't know how lucky they were to make it out of Mirkwood. They would have gotten murked in their wood by him. Just straight, like, throat punch.
This gift you've given me is something that I need to share. We can never do this as a bit. But the bit being, every book you get, add in a 1 to 2 page backstory that is true, but you know about it, is very good.
Bilbo Baggins used to be a prize fighter, and he had to give up that life because of which he accidentally killed someone in the ring, and he gave up his life of violence. He sworn an oath of non-violence. Yeah. And the whole book is him just sticking to that oath at every turn.
Because I know there would be moments, if you believed it, if you you're like, this is true, you would get to certain sections of the book where it's like, he might He might start kicking.
Gollum has him as he is fleeing up out of the tunnel to escape Gollum in the place under the mountain outside of the Goblin City. He's like climbing up, and Gollum packs him into a corner. This is not a joke. This is in it. And Bilbo proceeds to do a like jumping flip over him to escape. That happens in that book.
It's already in there.
But the thought that as you're reading it and he's backed into the corner, you're like, he's gonna have to break his oath. He's gonna have to kill Gollum. And then he does like a jumping flip over him to escape.
You're like, whoa, oh, it's a thing.
It's monk powers. That is fantastic. I'm going to visualize that every time I read The Hobbit for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. And to give to you, the audience, I think with that, we're going to wrap up there. It is 8:55. We came up with our adventure for survivors and also your players at the end. We did our first, like, March Madness bracket of pop culture character creator, which I think is pretty powerful. At some point, we should do a version of that game where we do like a snake draft, where we roll and you get to pick one of the three to like make teams. Fun. That would be fun. We should do that sometime.
Who would win?
Who would win? So with all of that out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to know some of our other stream times and the other places you can find us, I'm very excited to say, you can just stick around and see our end cards that we don't need to talk for 22 minutes and try to remember 50 things at the end of every single stream. So all I have to say is thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace out.